In 2026, the people who are outpacing you on social media aren't necessarily better creators than you. They have just figured out how to remove the parts of the job that totally suck. Think about your own week and honestly count how many hours you burn on stuff that isn't actually creative work. Adding captions, clipping long videos into snackable moments, and exporting for every single platform feels like a full-time job. But it is really just extra administrative tax on your art. It eats up your time like nothing else, leaving you too exhausted to actually focus on the storytelling or the hooks that matter. Since early this year, I went on a dedicated mission to strip all the waste out of my entire content creation machine. My goal wasn't to outsource every creative decision, but rather to use smart tools to remove the grinding, repetitive tasks from my plate. I want to funnel all my energy back into the fun stuff, like crafting ideas, perfecting the hooks, and nailing the storytelling. I'm calling this current phase the era of the AI-enabled creative, where we use technology to get the bored work out of the way. Let me be real with you for a second, because I used to be that guy who edited absolutely everything from start to finish. I would build a clean cut in my editing software, tweak overlays, craft the first version, and then spend hours doing captions. I spent forever repositioning text and changing fonts just to make each line feel slightly more dynamic and engaging. Maybe you happen to love captioning, and there is probably one person watching this who actually does, but for everyone else, it is a nightmare. The good news is that I'm not being replaced by these new tools. I am actually being amplified by them. Case in point, I managed to crank out over 30 short-form ads last week alone. And no, I definitely did not spend 30 extra hours doing manual captions because I used smart automation to remove the boring parts. There is a funny story I have about one of my best editors, who is honestly one of the most talented people I have ever worked with. I told him about my new workflow, and he was shocked, telling me that he had been subtitling everything manually this whole time. He was literally sitting there after cutting the perfect ad, dragging text boxes around one by one for hours. If an editor at my level didn't know about these tools, I would bet half of you watching this don't either. That is exactly why these tools feel like a literal superpower for content creators today. My workflow now starts the same way, where I build the video in my main editor, get the hooks right, and do my core overlays. Where the tool comes in is the heavy lifting, specifically the captioning, the clipping, and the distribution process. I export the rough cut, throw it into the software, and let it do the hard work for me. For captions, it gives me multiple styles and placements, so the text breathes and moves without me having to babysit every frame. You know those aesthetic caption styles that change font weight and position so it doesn't look static? Doing that manually in professional animation software is a full-time pain. But with this tool, it is basically drag, generate, and done. And subtitles alone? I was wasting 8 to 10 hours a month just on those, which is basically a full day of my life gone. Now I just click a button and it is finished, but this is really about way more than just captions. Clipping used to be another massive time sink that slowed everything down. Either my editors would clip stuff and send me files, leading to endless back and forth, or I would sit there manually watching an hour of footage. The auto-editing and viral clip features changed the entire game. You paste your long-form link, and it auto-generates a stack of potential clips, sometimes dozens of them at once. From those 30 or 40 options, I pick 3 to 5 that I will actually use. It is an overload, but in the best way possible, because more choices mean a higher chance of finding something great. I will be honest, the auto-generated clips are not always perfect, and frankly, I wouldn't want them to be. They are just a starting point that picks parts with the right energy and talking points that usually perform well. Then you jump in, tweak the hook, tighten the jump cut, and add your own personality to the piece. It is way faster than starting from scratch and searching for the good parts yourself. The software even suggests hook titles and attention-grabbing text for clips, so you don't have to brainstorm at 2 in the morning. I use that suggestion as a base, then tweak it so it sounds exactly like me. The point is that the tool does the heavy lifting while I do the creative dialing. Another huge time sink used to be distribution. If you are posting to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn, scheduling that content becomes a full-time admin job. I used to hand that off to my assistant, or block out a whole day to batch schedule everything manually. Both are fine, but they cost human hours and create friction when you just want to hit momentum. The auto-schedule and content calendar features mean I can finish a clip and send it live across multiple platforms without hopping between apps. Just link the accounts, set your frequency, and let the artificial intelligence follow the cadence you chose. No more sending files to phones, and no more cross-platform formatting headaches. Put the three things together, like captions, auto clips, and publishing, and the time savings really compound. For me, it has been real, saving me somewhere between 10 to 20 hours that would have been eaten by the tedious parts of the process. And on a monthly scale, I am reclaiming roughly a full day or more, which I can now spend creating, planning, or just actually living. Now, for the quick comparison, because I know some of you will ask, yes, there are other tools out there. Some are great at one thing, like subtitles, but have zero publishing features, while others charge per clip, which gets expensive at scale. Others integrate directly with animation software, which is amazing if you have the budget, but that is the trade-off. Specialty tools can be pricey or siloed, making you pay per clip, which is not sustainable when you are producing dozens of pieces a week. This software sits in a sweet spot for creators who want an integrated pipeline. It is more than a single feature widget. It is built for creators running a real content engine. And the cost is often cheaper once you factor in the time saved and the reduction in per clip fees or team bandwidth. Let me give you an example of how this plays out in my own workflow. I dropped a long-form interview into the tool, and it spit out dozens of potential clips instantly. I skimmed, chose a handful, used the suggested hook titles, and queued them to publish on different days. No file transfers, no spreadsheets for scheduling, and no back and forth messages asking what we should post today. Culturally, there is another angle. People who fear artificial intelligence replacing creators are missing the point. The real winners are creators who treat technology like an instrument, like a better sword, because it doesn't replace the fighter, it makes them more effective. I was almost stubborn about this because I am an editing purist by nature, but I am glad I stopped resisting. The tools are only as good as your creative eye, but paired with taste and intent, they make your life way easier. So if you are juggling captioning, clipping, and scheduling right now, take a hard look at where your time goes. Those handfuls of minutes add up, and reclaiming even a single day a month is huge. Try letting a tool take care of the mechanical stuff so you can spend more time actually making stuff that matters. For me, that's been this software. It is not here to replace me. It is here to remove the excess and let me be the creative. If this inspired you, test it on your next long-form piece. Export your first version and see how much momentum you can build in a week. I will link the tool down below, not because I want to shove an ad in your face, but because it actually changed how we ship content. If you want a deeper breakdown, like watching me build a full short-form project step by step, I will drop that next. See you in the next one.